Hilary Swank first won fame and acclaim for her groundbreaking performance in 1999's Boys Don't Cry. As if that wasn't impressive enough, she did it all over again 5 years later when she won a second Oscar for Clint Eastwood's boxing drama $1 Million Baby. And then, all of a sudden, Hollywood stopped talking about her. In March 2018, she reminded the world that she'd stepped away from the screen scene to help her father recover from a major operation.
For those of you that don't know, my dad got a lung transplant, and I took 3 years off to be with him and help him through that life.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a lovely
journey.
daughter you are.
Thank you. Well,
but her hiatus seemed to last longer than that, as she dropped from household name status to barely there over the last decade. From a series of low-performing projects, to her pivot to personal and professional pursuits outside of Tinseltown, to a bizarre political scandal, Hilary Swank gave studios more than enough reason to look elsewhere during casting. But can she make a comeback now? Too much, too soon. They say that winning an Oscar can be a curse, but winning 2 in the span of 5 years? That's double trouble. Swank faced considerable backlash in Hollywood after she won her second Best Actress Oscar in 2005.
I'm just a girl from a trailer park who had a dream.
By then, there was a growing feeling that Swank had been excessively rewarded for her talents at the expense of others. Suddenly, the actress had gone from starring in 90210 to boasting the rare honor of 2 Academy Awards on her shelf, while edging out the likes of Kate Winslet and Annette Bening. But beyond the politics of who deserved what, Swank was inevitably set up for failure by the Academy's lavishing so much praise on her. By age 30, she had far exceeded expectations, and accomplished more than most actors could ever dream of. At that point, there was really no place to go but down, especially since films like Boys Don't Cry and $1 Million Baby weren't easy to come by, even for an actress of her caliber. Swank tried to reclaim that momentum with dramatic turns in films like Freedom Riders and Conviction, but critics were only mildly impressed and audiences just weren't interested. As a result, Swank became a difficult actress to place in Hollywood. She was great in those lightning-in-a-bottle leading roles, but if the films were too highbrow, fans failed to turn up. If they were too low-key, though, they threatened to mar her hard-won reputation as a prestige actor. Her subsequent choices were key, and yet, crash and burn. After she won her first Oscar for Boys Don't Cry, Hilary Swank made some confusing movie choices. On the one hand, she starred in Christopher Nolan's well-regarded psychological drama Insomnia alongside Al Pacino in his prime. On the other, she also hopped right into the cheesy disaster movie genre with The Core, which was a massive flop and did her highlights reel exactly 0 favors. And the same thing happened to her again after finding second success in $1 Million Baby. She shifted wildly between starring in prestige movies that were too mediocre for Oscar consideration and mainstream flicks that seemed more geared towards making money than satisfying audiences. One of her roughest patches came in 2009, when she starred in the Amelia Earhart biopic Amelia, which was in every sense a disaster. Reviews were terrible and box office returns were even worse. Swank's days of Oscar glory started to feel like a thing of the past even then, and her most memorable role from the era ended up being a pretty generic romantic comedy called P.S. I Love You. For her part, Swank has taken the hits and misses in stride, telling The Independent in 2014, "You're an artist and you're putting yourself out there, and you take that leap, and sometimes you fly and sometimes you fall." Of course, it wasn't just her flailing filmography that caused the actress problems. An international incident. In 2011, Hilary Swank traveled to Chechnya to attend controversial leader Ramzan Kadyrov's birthday celebration. Swank lavished praise on the capital city of Grozny and thanked Kadyrov for the invitation, saying,
"And I hope someday, when you get your opera house built, maybe I'll have a film premiere here."
Aside from being generally bizarre, the visit was also problematic for the actress. Swank had positioned herself as a strong advocate of social issues in many of her films, but Kadyrov had a record of alleged human rights violations, which prompted considerable backlash from the film community. Swank ended up firing her manager and agents and was reportedly even dropped by her PR firm. She released a statement which read, "I deeply regret attending this event. If I had a full understanding of what this event was apparently intended to be, I would never have gone." Perhaps not coincidentally, Swank saw a 2-year gap in between projects around this time, but she's since devoted her downtime to visiting orphanages in India and helping to set up schools in Ethiopia. She also launched her own charity called Hilary, which helps connect children with support animals to encouraging healing for both. That's a lot of cleanup work. Outside work. Swank's absence from the spotlight has also had to do with things beyond her own control. In 2015, the actress revealed that she had recently put her career on the back burner in order to take care of her ailing father, who had just had a lung transplant. During Swank's self-imposed hiatus to care for her father, however, she did begin to pursue another passion: fashion. In 2016, she launched Mission Statement, a high-end clothing line described as aesthetic wear. The brand is a hybrid of high fashion and workout clothes, including everything from $900 leather pants to $145 sports bras. Speaking with Forbes about her foray into entrepreneurism, Swank said, "I feel it parallels making movies in that you start with an idea and have to find the right artisans to collaborate with, bringing that vision to the world." She also made it clear that while she intends to manage the clothing company, acting is still a priority, adding, With a full-time acting career, of which I'm still so passionate, and getting a new company off the ground, of which I maintain creative and managerial leadership, this can sometimes be a challenge. The guiding light for me is that I'm passionate about both of them and want to excel in both of them, so I somehow manage to find sufficient time every day. I also have incredible support and teams in both worlds, without which I would not be successful. While it's easy to highlight actresses whose Hollywood careers have taken a backseat to their entrepreneurial efforts, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jessica Alba, and Kate Hudson just to name a few, it's a lot harder to find ones who've successfully managed both. But Swank has given us plenty of reason lately to believe she's not done entertaining the masses just yet. Not only does she star in the 2018 Sundance debut What They Had, but she's also trying on a new medium for size. Turning to TV. Like more and more big screen stars are doing these days, Swank attempted to pivot to television. In 2014, she was cast in the Starz drama The 1%, a highly buzzed project from acclaimed Birdman director Alejandro Iñárritu. However, the show has since found itself in development limbo, so Swank returned to the film scene with a very small part in the well-received Steven Soderbergh film Logan Lucky. But Swank hasn't given up on the idea of being a part of the peak TV era just yet. In fact, she appears in the new FX limited series Trust, which was helmed by Oscar-winning director Danny Boyle and centers on the story of oil heir John Paul Getty III. The small screen experience has been revelatory for Swank. As she told Variety in January 2018, "The beauty of television is everything gets revealed as you go. There's such beauty in that it is so human. It's so hard to tell a story in 2 hours. I'm coming to recognize that." In other words, even though she made a name for herself in the movie business, she, like many others in the industry now, is finding out that the television arena gives actors a lot more room to stretch their legs.
It's incredible when you put your mind to something, what you recognize what you can be, what you're capable of.
Yeah.
It's incredible if you get out of your own way.
If she's half as good on this new series as she was in her finest film moments, well, we might be seeing her take over an entirely different award season circuit in the very near future. Thanks for watching. Click the Nicki Swift icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.